Hi, my name is Elin, and I'm gonna do my May and June wrap up right now. The first book I read in May was The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Endless Curses series, and it's a part of the Shadowhunters universe. And it's also by Wesley Shue, and I gave it 3 stars. I was hoping for it to be higher on the star rating scale, but it was 3 stars. It's about Magnus and Alec, and they go on a trip to Europe, and it's about them running into demons and taking down this demon worshipping cult that apparently Magnus started. Then I read a graphic novel called Blankets by Craig Thompson, and I gave that 3 stars as well. It was about this guy who goes to a church, like a Bible camp, and him not wanting to be there, and him meeting a girl, falling in love with her, and blah blah blah, stuff like that. Then I read a book about Asperger's, because I found out that I have Asperger's syndrome, and I read the Swedish book called Att vara vuxen med Aspergers syndrom of Paula Tilly. And I rated that like 4 stars, but it's hard to rate non-fiction. Then I read Red Bones by Anne Cleeves, which is a part of the Shetland series. They are detective novels set on the Shetland Islands. I gave that 3.5 stars. I like the show better, actually. Then I read another book by Cassandra Clare, which was Chain of Gold. That I gave 4 stars. It's about the people from the Infernal Devices children, and them running into demons and the usual stuff in the Shadowhunters world. Then I read The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman, which is the last book in the His Dark Materials series. The first trilogy, at least. I gave that 3 stars. It was pretty confusing with all the different worlds and creatures, and yeah, it was pretty confusing, but it was good. So that was the 6 books that I read in May. And then in June, I read House Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, which I gave 3.5 stars. I watched the movie afterwards, and I think I liked the movie better, actually. But it's about this girl who gets turned into an old lady that's like 90 years old by this witch. And then she goes to the wizard Howl and starts living in his castle. And it was good. Then I read The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. That I gave 5 stars. I loved it. It was my favorite book of June. And it's about gun violence, and it's written in verse. And it's a black author. It's a contemporary, but this guy's brother gets killed, and then he's going to get revenge by this guy he believes did it. And he goes into the elevator, but on each floor somebody new from his life comes in and teaches him like a lesson. And it was very impactful, and I recommend it to everyone. I loved it. Then I read Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, which I gave 4 stars, which is a contemporary, and it's about this black girl, and she is asexual and biromantic, and she meets this guy at work who's really sweet, and she thinks he's hot, and she has some issues with her two best friends who are a couple, and yeah, it's a sweet story. Then I read Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Promise, by Brian Konietzko, Michael Dante DiMartino, Jean Luen Yang, and Gurihuru. So this is a graphic novel. It's a bind up of The Promise. And this takes place directly after the show ends. And it's really nice. I rated it 4 stars, and I will be continuing on in this graphic novel series because I love Avatar: The Last Airbender so much. It's one of my favorite shows, and I am currently watching Korra, The Legend of Korra. And yeah, I recommend this. Then I read an audiobook called, it's my first erotica. It's called Dominated by a Hotel Maid, Lesbian BDSM Erotica by Laura Vixen. And it was steamy. It was really steamy. That's all I will say on that. So that was the 5th and last book I read in June. So I read 5 books in June and 6 books in May. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!